Unscripted.
Actually have a plethora of good Xbox news. That's right, not a little, not a medium size, but a plethora, a whole smorgasbord of positive Xbox news today. I know a lot of people are probably waiting for some of this stuff, and this is exactly why I think competition does so well for everybody, right? Like Microsoft is in there doing stuff. They're trying to do their best to, get games and get good services and, do the best by their fans. That causes Sony to go out and do best by their fans. I mean, let's look at yesterday, for example. We saw Sony did a state of play. Obviously, Returnal released, and that's getting Game of the Year type hype. You also had Ratchet & Clank look absolutely incredible, and clearly that's a deadly combination 1-2 punch by Sony, and it has, obviously some Xbox fans are going to be a little salty, a little jealous, if you will, and I completely understand that, right? Like, it's been a long wait. I'm an Xbox fan. Like, I know people have a hard time believing that, but I'm an Xbox fan, and I want to see them do well, and I want to see them go out there and get, great games and have great games and things like that, and I think that, what we're starting to see is the beginnings of that, but the part that worries me is the fact that we are living in such a way that we still probably have years to go until we actually understand that, but hopefully we can get something going, and like, while this is good news, it also kind of points to the fact that, we are still probably a while away from getting really, really great stuff. Like, that's not to say Halo won't be great, or that Forza Horizon, if there is one, won't be great, or Starfield or whatever. But, I know a lot of us are probably really interested in, the Fables, the Avoweds, and, that kind of stuff. And I still think that stuff is years away, the Perfect Darks and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, but this is good news as far as I can tell. I think this is extremely, really good news. And I would still say, please take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, because I feel like that should be needed and said with anything that is just kind of rumor or leaks right now. So I kind of wanted to talk about this. But again, just take it with a grain of salt. So IO Interactive reportedly working on an Xbox exclusive fantasy game featuring dragons. IO Interactive is known mostly for the Hitman franchise, but the studio is branching out now that it's independent. Following the release of Hitman 3, the developers announced Project 007. An original James Bond story that will delve into the beloved character's origins. That's not all they're working on, though. As the CEO recently said in an interview, he says, "We've created 4 IPs from scratch. We've always have incubation and R&D going. We always have these crazy ideas and worlds and characters that we're thinking of. Without going into too much detail, we have a third universe that we're working actively on, which is different, and built differently, and absolutely a love child of ours. It is something our core people, our veteran staff, have been dreaming about for some time, so I'm equally excited with this one as with their other 2 universes." Now, according to a fresh report, it looks like this third game in development at IO Interactive could be an Xbox exclusive due to the published nature of the game by Microsoft, but details are scarce. But it's said to be a connected world game, that is to say, featuring online multiplayer elements set in a fantasy world with dragons. Indeed, the project codename appears to be Dragons and Windows. Central actually found a reference to that in the job listing as well, which is really good. Basically, Eurogamer also independently corroborated the report with their own sources, so it's looking more and more likely. Of course, the game is likely to be several years away. Hence is the major problem with all this Xbox news. Of course, obviously, IO Interactive is still staffing up for both Project 007 as well as the new title, with the goal to eventually double the studio's headcount. Meanwhile, this month, IO Barcelona officially opened up to assist the existing Copenhagen office with the 007 game. So they have multiple studios and stuff like that. So yeah, but when this stuff comes out, and then but Eurogamer, according to them, kind of doubled down on this, saying they've heard word of this new project with IO Interactive, which is described as being AAA in scope, though still very early in development and years away. It's currently planned to feature a large medieval-esque world, and yes, winged beasts of the dragon variety. IO Interactive just finished Hitman, clearly, so there's obviously hopes that the Bond game also is going to spawn a trilogy. and an expectation IO will double in size to 400 in staff by the time it releases. They've been very honest about the third IP that they've been working on as well. So that's good as well. Look, they're getting some cool stuff out there. I think some kind of connected world, that sounds right up Microsoft's alley. If you think about it, they love this connected world stuff. Obviously Everwild is going to be some kind of connected world thing. You also have a situation with, Sea of Thieves. They love that. They want stuff for Game Pass that's going to make people continue to pay a subscription fee. And, that keeps you on there and actually playing it. So, yeah, they love that. And I think that it's pretty clear that they're going to keep probably trying to put stuff out like that. And it makes a lot of sense. So, I think that would be a pretty smart move by them. And I feel like that's probably exactly what we're going to be seeing before too long. And that's exciting in a lot of ways. But it's also obviously kind of one of those things where I'm sitting here going, that's pretty exciting, but also a little bit, I would maybe wish that they would do something a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like just maybe a little bit different. Maybe some single player stuff from Microsoft, but we'll have to see. Maybe they just really enjoy doing this type of stuff, with the online connected universes and things like that. But you know what? This isn't where the good news stopped, folks. I didn't want to stop the good news train right there. Of course, I'm going to link this in the description. You guys can check it out. It sounds like that is happening, but keep the excitement level to a fervor and fervor to a minimum, because you're looking at probably years away. This is very early in development, so something with a new AAA IP could take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So think about that. We're currently in 2021, so think maybe 2026, something along those lines. It's also heavily rumored, so take this with a grain of salt. Over 50 more Xbox games could be getting an FPS boost on the Series X and S. Of all the improvements Microsoft has made with their already impressive backwards compatibility program in recent months, the FPS boost has to be one of the most well received, and for good reason. Being able to play older games on newer hardware with natively enhanced frame rates is something that cannot be praised enough. Following its initial batch of supported FPS Boost games, they added a bunch of Bethesda titles and recently did the same with several EA games. Now it seems like it's going to be adding a lot more. According to this, journalist Terrible Tom recently published a fleet on Twitter in which he teased that over 50 backwards compatible games on the Series X/S will be receiving a boost either 60 or 120 frames per second very soon. It remains to be seen exactly when it'll happen, but given the timeline of previous boost announcements, it shouldn't be too long, and it certainly is exciting because 50 is a big number, and we've only got a handful previously, so this is really good. Microsoft has previously said that only Xbox One games are going to receive the boost for the foreseeable future, so that narrows down the pool somewhat. Either way, it's still pretty cool to see that happen, and it's still pretty cool to see so many people obviously talk about it and obviously, be excited about the ability to play some of these old things. Again, Xbox's big selling point right now just so happens to be the this type of stuff, because let's face it, realistically they don't have a lot of anything else, and that's not really a knock. I mean, I'm sure that they will at some point, but when it comes down to it, I feel like that's something that they'll have to make up for at some particular point. We need to start seeing some kind of movement, and obviously without kind of movements and things like that from the company themselves, I think they'll probably just kind of stagnate a little bit, and they don't want to do that. They have a lot of momentum going for them right now. You have all these cool sounding things, and then you think, damn, but they're still years away. And I'll be honest with you, right? As I close in on 40, like when I was younger, you looked forward to stuff that was coming in a few years. Once you are closing in on that big 4-0, you start to think about things a little differently. You're like, damn, man, I'll be close to 50 or, my mid 40s by the time this game comes out. And you think about things a little bit differently, It's all about what I can get right now. And so that's what kind of excites me. But I do think it's cool, if they do got some kind of deal with Star Wars to get Mandalorian games or whatever, which is another rumor. I'm all for that. I think they should be able to kind of do that. This would be a big thing for them. If Sony's got exclusive Marvel games, then why not have Xbox get exclusive, Star Wars games or exclusive something else in that universe? I think they have, enough studios to pull off something like that. It really just kind of goes down to you know, what people are kind of looking at and how people are kind of taking this kind of stuff. So yeah, very interesting to see how this works out. I definitely want to hear everything and how you guys feel about this stuff. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys very much for continuing to just be you know, decent people, decent human beings. It really you know, it can't really be understated, to be honest with you. So thank you guys very much for rocking out with me. I hope you guys all have a great day. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.